What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, and I have to say that I kind of struggled a little bit with what I want to talk about first, the game or what happened in the second quarter of that game. We all know the Kevin Durant re-injury. Um, I want to talk about Durant's first because I think, in the grand scheme of things, what happened to him is more important than a game. But you follow me to hear me talk about the game. So I'll do a separate video. Believe me, I'm going to do a separate video about a lot of shit. That plus some other shit I don't like. Okay? But believe me, you're going to listen to that Kevin Durant video. 'Cause I got a lot to say in that video. A lot. Now, also, before I forget to mention this, as always, if you want to donate to this channel, if you want to show love to Too Raw for TV, the channel, you can put a link in the description. Or excuse me, Jesus. You can, I could put the link. Fuck, I'm talking about. I'll put a link in the description box where you can donate to this channel if you choose to. Um, Game 5 of the NBA Finals was an opportunity for Toronto Raptors to wrap this series up and win their first ever NBA championship. The Golden State Warriors are in a situation where no team really wants to be. Coming into this game, they were down 3-1. And of course, there has been much uncertainty as far as the status of Kevin Durant. He went from being questionable to being a possibility to being likely to then finally being confirmed cleared to play. Now, this is my personal opinion. As the days and games mounted as far as Kevin Durant not playing, I did begin to question the severity of his injury. You know, people were saying that it was just a calf injury. But I wondered if it was something a little bit more serious than that. But I became convinced because the team doctors cleared him to play that whatever injury he had, maybe it was just a small tear in the calf muscle, it healed. And Kevin Durant came out there gangbusters. Okay, I don't know his. Oh, let me look it up right now. I think he had 11 points, and he did that in just the first quarter, pretty much. And you could clearly see, you could clearly see that when Kevin Durant was out there, at even 60% of Kevin Durant, 65% of Kevin Durant, just his size and presence alone completely changed how the team plays out there and how they're constructed and the spacing and everything. Toronto constantly looked like they were on the verge of being blown out. If it wasn't for Golden State perpetually turning the ball over, if it wasn't for that, it would have been a blowout in the first half. But I got to credit the Raptors defense too. They played good defense throughout the game, but they just essentially played catch up throughout the whole game, and Nick Nurse kind of fucked up toward the end with some of the play calls and shit. But you could clearly see the difference with Kevin Durant out there. Now, Kevin Durant played until I think 9 minutes into the second quarter. There was no minutes restriction on Kevin Durant, and In 12 minutes of play, he had 11 points, 2 rebounds. Okay. He was shooting the ball very well. I think at the time of his exit from the game, he was 3 of 3 from 3-point range and maybe like 4 or 5 from the field or something like that. I mean, he was unbelievable. And he was providing that Willis Reed effect. You see, Willis Reed went down in Game 5 of the 1970 NBA Finals with a leg injury. And he came back for Game 7. And he didn't do much. He only hit 2 shots. He hit his first 2 shots. He did not score again for the rest of the game. But just his presence alone, just his inspirational play and his drive to be out there with his teammates inspired his teammates to play at a level that few saw coming. That's why Walt Frazier had the best game of his career in that Game 7. 36 points, 19 assists, 7 rebounds. If they counted steals, probably like 10 steals or 6 steals or something like that. Remarkable performance. The halo effect, okay, you want to call it that. Well, actually, the halo effect probably happened in Game 5. Despite the fact that Willis Reed went down, the Knicks were able to rally and come back and win that game. Now, you saw both of that in this game. The inspirational performance with Kevin Durant at the beginning, right? But when he went down with that injury, I think he was trying to drive against Serge Ibaka. We were watching it at home, and you could tell that it was an Achilles injury. The way his leg gave out, the area he was grabbing, the way he was motioning, others to help him get up and walk. It looked like how Kobe walked off when he ruptured his Achilles. And I'm not ashamed to admit it, man. I got kind of emotional when I saw that happen to him. I really did. And I'm going to tell you something. I think most of you guys kind of know that I was rooting for the Raptors. But the way that the Raptors fans reacted to Kevin Durant's injury by cheering, and I might be wrong. Someone can confirm this for me. But did I see Drake cheer when Durant went down with an injury? I couldn't quite. It was like a split second. I looked away and I looked back, and it looked like he was like, "Yes." Did he do that? Because if Drake did that, you're a fucking piece of shit, man. A piece of shit. And if you did do that, I'm glad P. Diddy slapped the fuck out of you. And your music sucks. But as of this moment, I'm no longer rooting for the Raptors. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm not a Warriors fan, but at this point, I'm not rooting for anybody. I have no rooting interest because I can't root for a team that would cheer an injury. How can you cheer an injury? And of all injuries, an Achilles injury? So the Warriors, after Durant exited, the Warriors had the halo effect, which happened after Willis Reed was injured in Game 5. They rallied around their fallen leader, and it inspired them to play. It's almost like in war, in battle, when the chieftain or the general is killed in action or is wounded and can no longer fight, it sometimes can go both ways. Sometimes it can dispirit the soldiers and they give up and surrender, but oftentimes it inspires the soldiers, his brothers in arms, to fight even harder. And that's what we saw with the Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry put on an outside shooting exhibition, the likes of which we probably have never seen in the NBA Finals, not collectively by two people at the same time. They kept the Golden State Warriors ahead comfortably for the duration of the game, all the way into the waning moments of the contest. And matter of fact, let me look at some of these numbers right quick. I think Curry had 31 points. Yeah, Curry had 31 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Klay Thompson, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. They probably hit about 43s between both of them. And that pretty much was the margin of victory. You know what I'm saying? The 3-point barrage is what sealed the deal for them. Draymond Green had 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. He had a decent game. Andre Iguodala did not provide much of anything offensively. DeMarcus Cousins had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist, which is his best game since his re-entry into the playoffs, which was what was it? Game 2, I think. And but outside of that, there really wasn't a lot of help, man. There really wasn't a lot of help offensively, and it was pretty much Curry and Thompson pretty much providing much of the offense, man. They scored more than half of the team's points. For the Raptors, Kawhi Leonard led the way with 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. My beef with Leonard is this, though. I think Kawhi Leonard waited too long. I think he waited too long and was too passive in this game. He waited too long to try to take over the offense. You know what I'm saying? We hear. I know he isn't responsible for these Michael Jordan comparisons, but Michael Jordan would have much earlier. He would have seized the opportunity and have tried to strike a dagger in the hearts of the Golden State Warriors. Kawhi Leonard is a great player, but Michael Jeffrey Jordan, he is not. And I also believe that he should have worked harder to have taken that final shot in regulation. That situation, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you have to be a little bit more aggressive than that, and trying to work, you know, and trying to work and getting a better shot than that. Pascal Siakam, pedestrian game, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Marc Gasol had a good game, 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. But I got to admit, man, Marc Gasol is not a presence down low at all on the boards. Serge Ibaka continues to be effective for this team. 15 points, 6 rebounds coming off the bench. Nick Powell. Hey, Nick Powell, what happened to you, man? Because when you're playing against the Milwaukee Bucks, Nick Powell, you look like goddamn, you know, Byron Scott out there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And with the exception of that dunk that you got off of the feed from uh, Leonard, except for the exception of that dunk, you didn't do shit this game, and you really haven't done shit in this series. But against Milwaukee Bucks, Nick Powell, like I said, you were like fucking Byron Scott out there. You know? Fred VanVleet hit a couple of shots, but my biggest gripe with the supporting cast, to me, my biggest gripe is with Kyle Lowry. Yeah, the numbers look okay if you look at the box score. 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. But this guy, man, he is definitely one of the reasons why this team has underachieved for so long. He's one of the reasons. I don't understand it. I've seen streaky guys before, streaky shooters. Latrell Sprewell, Glenn Rice, although he was still a great shooter. John Starks, the epitome of a streaky shooter. One day, John Starks might go um, 7 of 11 from the floor, 3 of 6 from downtown, have a great offensive night. And then the next night, he pulls what he did in Game 7 of the 94 finals, 2 for 17 or 2 for 18 shooting, 0 for 11 3-point range. You don't know which John Starks you're going to get. But Kyle Lowry is the type of guy who can get streaky within the actual game he's playing. He goes through streaks in the game. He can start off a game hot. He can start off a game 4 or 5 from the floor, hit a couple threes, and you're thinking Kyle Lowry, yeah, Kyle, this is what, yes, yes. Then he can miss his next 8 shots. And not only miss them, but look like he's never shot a basketball in his life. He can be wide open and shoot and airball. I've never seen anything like it with this guy, man. And Kyle Lowry really pissed me off in one sequence of this game. The Raptors were up, I think, 103-100, and they had the ball. And Kyle Lowry did what Kyle Lowry does a lot of times. You know, he drove, to the basket. There was nothing there for him as far as lanes, really. And he couldn't get to the basket, couldn't try to draw a foul or try to get a layup or anything like that. So he does what Kyle Lowry does. He kicks it back out, you know what I'm saying, and tries to pass it back out to one of his teammates in the backcourt. But this particular time, it was a wild errant pass, or, you know what I'm saying, uh, nobody was anywhere near where he passed the ball to, and the ball went in the backcourt for a turnover. That really pissed me off when he did that. You know what I'm saying? Kyle Lowry is a very good facilitator. He's a pretty good defensive player. He's great at drawing charges. Offensively, Kyle Lowry, I don't know. I don't know about Kyle Lowry sometimes, man. And then you have the opportunity to hit the biggest shot in the history of the Toronto Raptors franchise. And it's not that he missed a shot. That's not what pissed me off about him. I'd have been shocked if he made it, to be honest with you. What pissed me off is the fucking shot hit the side of the fucking backboard. That's why they should have traded both of the motherfuckers, not just DeRozan, but Lowry as well. Kyle Lowry sucks. He's trash. He's so inconsistent. Oh, boy. Now, momentum is on Golden State's side. Now only down 3-2. Now the question is, what happens in Game 6? Because you would think Golden State has the momentum. They have all of the advantages. They're in Oracle. Okay, they have the crowd on their side. But we have to remember that Toronto has already beaten this team 2 times in Oracle Arena. And now, also, what some people have to think about is the reality of the situation can hit the Warriors now. Reality can set in that their best player is lost for the series and possibly lost forever if Durant chooses not to play anymore for the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Like the emotional roller coaster that they were riding for Game 5 is not going to be there. So we don't know the outcome. It could be a 25-point Golden State Warriors blowout, force a Game 7. You never know what could happen in Game 7. Or Toronto can come in there focused because I think they didn't have the sense of urgency that they should have had for 2.5 to 3/4 of the game last night. They could come in there focused. The Warriors could come in there a little bit discombobulated by the Durant injury, and it could work against them. So we don't know. But I'll tell you something that Ticket said that I agree with. you know, this playoffs shows you the NBA does not need LeBron James anymore. It doesn't. It doesn't. This is the best playoffs that I have seen in at least 10 years. I think it's the best playoffs. Let me think about this. Overall, this is the best playoffs I've seen. I'm trying to think of a good year. I think it's the best playoffs that I've seen since 2000. I'd say 8, 9, somewhere in that range. But that's it. That's all I got to say about this game, man. You know, the Warriors stay alive. The Raptors blow an opportunity to win a championship, and it might come back to bite them in the ass. Tell me what you guys think.